Charles Barkley yesterday on Inside the NBA had a few things to say about Ja Morant. I'm going to read out his quotes. He's a terrific player, Ja. My only concern with him is he's a little too reckless for me. He can't be running into them big bodies like that because he's going to get hurt. Big bodies going to hurt little bodies. He's got to learn to shoot a little floater. He got to quit trying to dunk on people because little bodies always going to get hurt by big bodies. I love the kid. I love the fact that he's fearless. But sometimes you have to take a step back and not take those body blows. I would say that Charles Barkley is right to a large degree that Ja Morant's style of play is very risky and it does increase the chance of him getting injured. That is true, that he has to have more balance to his game, I would say, in the sense that he has to figure out how to avoid always getting hit by big bodies in the paint. Granted, I do feel Ja has the luxury in today's NBA that's less physical than back in the day, like 10 or even 15 years ago. Just I think it was much more rougher if you drove in the paint, especially during the 2000s and like mid to late 90s. I can still remember like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili as a Spurs fan, like how much abuse they took in the paint during the mid to late 2000s, just with all the hard fouls, getting hit hard when they drove into the paint area and having to deal with all those bruises all over their bodies. Granted, Ginobili's career lasted until he was 40, but I think all the hits took out Parker by the time he hit his like mid to late 30s. Just it wore on him, and you could tell. I think Parker's prime ended a lot quicker than some of these guys because I would say after 2015, I felt that he was done, to be honest. His prime was over, and I think that was due to all the hits that Parker took in the paint when he would get hit by these guys. But Ja really does need to change it up. He does need to add a floater just to avoid taking these hard hits like he initiates a lot of times when he drives in the paint, because today guys really fear giving the hard fouls to smaller guys that drive the paint. But I think Ja just spins out of control like the Tasmanian devil, that he's out of control. And when he rams into the basket, just hoping to get contact or to finish. He's a great finisher, but that does make him prone for injury. I think he had one injury a few years back during playoffs where he landed awkwardly on his wrist, I believe. It was some weird play that he tried to attempt. He fell flat right on there. So he has to find more ways to be careful. I definitely agree on that. Just he should definitely add a teardrop, a floater, just some moves that allow him to manage the wear and tear on his body. But I think even if he does do all these things, that the sad reality for a player like Ja Morant is that getting hurt is inevitable when you're an explosive guard like Ja. Just if you think about it, like every super athletic guard I've seen in my lifetime that's like, I would say 6'3" and below has gotten hurt. Just they always end up blowing out their knees. If you think about it, just you can go back to just even back in the day, Baron Davis. He blew out his knee a few times. He was an explosive 6'2", 6'3" guard. I'm trying to think of some others from the top of my head. Just even during the 90s, Kevin Johnson, he blew out his knee a few times. I look at even Russell Westbrook. His knee injury wasn't as bad as other guys, but he tore out his meniscus one time. And there's just several others. I'm pretty sure if you look at just a guy like Steve Francis, I think he might have had knee problems too. But the list goes on. And then you have obviously Derrick Rose, who blew out his knee and he was never the same. So I just think when you play his style of play and you're that small, you rely heavily on your speed. And I think over time that puts wear and tear on your knee joints, which results in you inevitably blowing out your knee. So I think it's only a question of when Ja will get hurt, not if. It's only a matter of time. Now, if you're the Grizzlies, you hope that Ja can at least maintain his 20s without blowing out his knee, but it's going to be hard. Like, I think he's still very young. I think he's 24, 25. So it's possible in the next 4 or 5 years he could end up blowing out his knee. it wouldn't surprise me, but it's always good to try to find ways to prevent injury. So if you could find a floater, that definitely would favor him a lot just to maintain the risks of getting hurt. But I don't think he can prevent it, unfortunately. I think it's just going to happen that one day he will blow out his knee, and that will definitely have a huge impact on his career. I don't think he can avoid it. I would love to be wrong, but I don't think I will be. So that's the way I look at it.